On this lovely Thursday evening, I received a message on Facebook from my good friend Verdant SC2 to a Reddit thread he created, and I'd like to do for you right now a dramatic reading of this Reddit thread. Let's do it. So I was playing some Starcraft because I was bored, and I'm a glutton for punishment. I was messing around with some Wings of Liberty, and I encountered a legendary specimen, long thought to be extinct. There were rumors, of course, but you can't put much stock in those. Like the dodo bird, the cheesing Terran was thought to be extinct. I'm here to tell you that I've found the last one, and he's been hard to put down. Like all cheesers, he has nothing to say when he loses, but talks all kinds of shit when he wins. Let me take you back to a time before 111 was popular, when maps like Blistering Sands and Steps of War drained many a nerd boy of his tears, sweat, and jingo-jism. A time when proxying was the norm, when pulling the boys was routine practice, and when all was lost, you pretended to expand. This Terran has it all. Proxy Marauder with slow, in-base bunker rush, Proxy Hellion Marauder, bunker on the low ground into 3 racks, 1 base drops, and late proxy drops. I bring you Jajo, the Terran out of time. Part 1. The BM. It all started innocently enough. I was piddling myself around on some garbage hellscape I can't be bothered to learn the name of. I spotted the young beast attempting to macro, unfamiliar territory for Terrans. The destruction of their natural habitat has been a slow process, but many of them have been forced to relocate to more long-term shelter. I performed the usual 1-gate expand, kept an eye out for the usual Terran bullshit, and prepared to poke the bear. What can I say? I'm a daredevil. As I sent my freshly built stalker, made of toilet paper and matchsticks, up the ramp to spy on the dirty heathen, I saw something that no one has seen in eons. My godlike reflexes allowed me to save the bird's nest that we call a unit, marveling at what I saw up the ramp. What the shit tits McDiddlyfuck was that? I said to myself. I had to investigate. Thrusting my mighty Protoss prosthetic properly into the prostate of the professional proponent of this madness, I confirmed the truth. A siege tank. Very few have seen Terran units that don't walk on 2 legs, and I was mystified by its majestic malarkey. Like any good American, I trapped it and shot it in the face. Upon realizing that this Terran was harmless, I put him down handily and moved on with my day. Little did I know, I had stirred the hornet's nest of cheese, and a dozen games of shit-tastical shenaniganry were barreling in my direction. Part 2. Eclectic Boogaloo. After a hearty chuckle, I pressed the pain button and entered another match. Lo and behold, it was the Terran again. Believing him to be thoroughly spooked by the untold wonders of macro and Protoss's phallic pride, I settled into a macro game with the same build. Unbeknownst to me was what unabated furious hell I had unleashed upon the world. First a loss, then another. I quickly realized something was amiss. I can't lose like this. I had sent the Terran into a cheese rage. In the olden days, cheesing Terrans were numerous enough to stampede if one descended into a cheese rage. I had to quell this madness and end the depths of this depravity unbound. Abandoning my newfangled gate expand in favor of a 2-gate before core build, I was finally ready to capture the specimen and potty train him. Utilizing my 2 gateways, I made a multitude of zealots and poked around the map. The proxy couldn't be far. Terran society dictates that no buildings be laid down in the main base. Luckily, my days as a student of Terranology were paying dividends. After scratching my head at the lack of enemy buildings in my base, I discovered the Terran Stronghold. Within moments of pawing at the door with my Chihuahua unit, a nightmare buggy of twisting anguish reduced my paper tiger to a pile of smoldering ass. What the blazes is that? I thought to myself. Pulling my thumb out of my bum, I thought hard and remembered something about a man of British descent and a pile of dead workers. These must be the fabled Hellions. Inferior to biped Terran units, but still a nuisance. I hadn't found the proxy yet, but I knew all I needed to. Mustering my mighty military, I moved as hard as I could and ended this new threat. Part 3. The Cheesening. My war with the Terran raged on for decades, but I was charged with ending this blight upon our lands. I came upon my foe in the sandy ass crack of Mars. We had done our dance for years, and I was wise to his games. I hadn't dropped a match to him since the Great Marauder Proxy of 2091. I was feeling invincible. I had my foe on his back boot, and all that was left was to push him over the cliff with the rest of the babies that weren't eaten. Note to myself, the oven makes them too crunchy. Try microwaving. My 2-gate build hadn't failed me yet, and sending my trusty sloth units around the map, I found the Terran's encampment. The dastardly dingbat was trying to recreate the Marauder Proxy. I was not to be fooled again. As horrific memories flashed before my eyes, I let out the squeal of the Brohiram. My trusty goon squad of units, dumber than koalas, obeyed and marched on the scurvy cur's attempt to backdoor my booty hole. My seasoned forces drop-kicked him in the ulnar nerve, and he left soon after. Part 4. Deus Ex Expansion. I had thought myself unbreakable, but somehow this poopy-pounding-ass spelunker took a map from me. I had grown tired of this. A lifetime of battle against an inane nincompoop changes a man. I was ready to destroy some virginal burritos in a way that only a man who's seen the agony of war can do. I had to do the unthinkable. Take a second base. It was the only way to eradicate this erroneous egghead. I had to break him so completely that he felt there was no hope. It's the only way to truly deal with a Terran infestation. Pulling the silly string out of my eyes and preparing my body for the task ahead, I set sail for East Bumblefuck. Recon spotted the Terran near there. Upon catching sight of me, the Terran beat his moves with the sweaty hamfist and sounded the call of easy peasy. This is a mating noise Terrans make when they attain victory and are prideful. This was getting dangerous. The Terran was challenging my authority as an alpha male of this area. I had to make quick work of this. I sent my mooks out to the usual hidey holes, but the Terran had abandoned them all. My moronic paperweight stumbled up a ramp to find 2 bunkers full of Terran scum. By the gods, is nothing sacred? Legend has it that bunkers are free Terran hit points that materialize out of nowhere to cheese your pants off, and disappear just as quickly. Not only had I seen bunkers and lived to talk about it, it seemed this Terran was expanding. He was learning, attempting to assimilate himself into society. It wouldn't be long before he'd be unrecognizable among the other asinine asshats. I had to kill him. I attempted to put him down, but my measly units were no match. Retreating back and expanding, I prepared for my final stand. Moments later, a telltale beeping. Oh, what fresh sorcerous garbage is this? The Terran had somehow linked up to the old satellite map hack network. The jig was up. The Terran had seen my natural. It was time to lay the poor beast to rest. I decided to force field myself away from his forces. Twice to protest how shitty the latency is on AT&T internet. It didn't matter though. My units are so overpowered that even pulling the boys didn't work. Assuming the horse stance, I uttered the magic words that my master Idra imparted upon me at his passing. The incantation for sending Terrans back to the underworld. GG. Easy. As the Terran exploded into a Brazilian pieces, on the wind I heard, GG. The shockwave shook my body so hard that I sharded my shorts, and all went dark. Epilogue. Over a dozen games of BM later, the legendary Jajo is no more. A tale of swashbuckling adventure, edge-of-your-seat action, and 2 thumbs up for Proxy 2 Raxes. The last son of cheese has passed this day. What he leaves behind is a flashback from another time. May his legacy forever live on. When Protoss, bored of fulfilling macro games, cry out in the night for booty-plundering Terran cheese, may Jajo be there.